guys. Hi. You like the book so far?
Yes.
Beautiful.
I
No,
know.
I like it.
Let's see if I
I'm
can
glad to take this one. I hope there's a sequel.
Yes.
Hey, one thing it looks like we have to do is talk about the questions that we came up with while we were reading. Did you get your reading done, by the way?
I did do my reading.
I did all the way. Yep.
All right. You want to start with your question?
Did you do your reading?
I did.
Okay. Sure, I'll start with my question. Okay, so one thing that I found when I was reading, I did not understand what a teetotaler was. And so that was my question, what is a teetotaler?
Do you remember how it was used in the sentence? Do you remember?
I think it had something to do with after the party.
It was.
It was after the party, and she was going to spend the rest of her life
Yeah.
as a teetotaler.
Yep, that was exactly it.
I kind of know what that is, but I'll let
You do? I just kind of assumed that it had to do something to do with like
Made an
drinking
inference?
too much. Yes, I did infer that it was something to do with drinking too much. Like she was always going to be drinking too
And then
much.
I actually looked it up and got the definition.
good.
It was someone who never drinks alcohol.
Oh, who
Well, that
never
would-
does.
That would make sense for the scene, wouldn't it? Good. Awesome.
I had a question.
Okay.
I wanted to know after reading this question was at the end of both chapters. I wondered if they will ever not be on the run because the guy that brought up or was in prison was killed, and so that should be the end of it. So are they gonna have to run for the rest of their lives? So
They talked about how, the guy who hired Vamp was not the same guy who was killed, and so I would think until, I would say they're still going to be on the run for a little bit. I would think.
Yeah, and there was a point where she got her hopes all up, and then her dad came to her and said, it's not over yet. And then they sold, didn't they put their house up for sale, right?
Yep.
that was one of my aha moments that we'll get to in just
Ooh,
a minute
all right.
too. So,
Okay.
do you have a question?
I want to know your opinion about the fact, about Larry. I want to know your opinion about Larry. What you think of Larry? Because, he had this whole his attitude and things like that. So I want to know what you think about Larry.
What do you think?
I was wondering what you think.
I thought he was kind of a jerk. I'm surprised that she's hanging out with him
Yeah.
still. You'd think she would be able to find other friends.
Well, especially because she's kind of feisty herself, so
Yeah.
I thought she'd be like, you know what, I'm not putting up with
Right.
this.
The whole Princess
Right,
April would never
right,
put up with
yeah.
that, and how her attitude and how much she's changing.
Now that you say that, he does not treat her like she's a princess.
Oh, no.
So you'd think she'd give him deuces and
Right.
be out.
Because they wouldn't apologize, and she
No.
was waiting for that, and he wouldn't
Yeah.
do it.
Yep.
And of course,
Yep.
she wouldn't either.
All right.
Yeah.
Great.
I mentioned a signpost first, so I'll bring mine up.
Okay.
It was when Dad came in and gave her the wad of bills and said
Oh.
they sold the house.
Yeah.
And that was when she realized they wouldn't be going back to Virginia. I think she was holding on to that hope that they would go back. And then the question on the signpost said, how
How
might
might
that
this change things?
And then I thought, I wondered if Val's attitude would get worse. Because I think she was kind of trying to play along so that, in knowing that they might go back, but I wonder if she'll just be like, I'm done, I can't take
Right.
this, I'm, be ornery and not try to get as long, knowing that she's not gonna eventually get her way.
Did any of you catch the words of the wiser in the chapters?
I didn't.
No.
Yeah.
What was it? There was one in there?
Yeah, after she met Jody in the park, and she went running out, and Mom and Dad noticed her crying, and she told why. Mom gave her some comfort and told her, let's see, it's on page 109. I'm gonna look it up in a minute. So that's why you've been crying. I can see why you're upset, but I'm sure it doesn't mean anything. Steve is bound to be lonely and miss you, and since Sherry's your best friend, it probably makes him feel closer to you to be with her. So I thought that was kind of like some words of the wiser, just giving her comfort and that kind of thing. What do you think? Do you think that was the words of the wiser? Or?
I think it's something my mom would say to me.
Right.
Okay.
Moms are wise.
Good.
Yes.
And then
they
the
are.
question is, what's the life lesson and how might it affect the character? What do you think about that? I had a little bit of a hard time coming up with a life lesson for that. I mean, maybe it has something to do with, dating and having, relationships not work out, things like that. But do you have any ideas about that one?
I wonder if she was maybe trying to get Val to think about his side of it. He's lonely. What might he be thinking?
Sure.
So that would be more of a life lesson where you could, in any situation, apply that to, think about what someone else is going through
Sure.
too.
Mhm.
Okay, good. The world doesn't revolve around you.
Yeah.
My signpost that I found was a memory moment. It was on page 101 when the dad was, let's see, do you have it there? Let's see. He was talking to April.
Yeah, right in the top.
Yeah, and he was struck by a
Yeah.
sudden memory of a playful man with a gentle face. And then, it just goes into saying how she was thinking back and how,
He told stories and would change the endings.
absolutely,
and-
yeah. And the question was that was what?
Why might this memory be important?
And Dad was trying to love on his daughter and give her options of where they could go, and just giving her different options and just
Mhm.
trying to show her love, and he was loving on her with his gentle face, and that's just how she thinks of her dad.
Okay.
That's good thinking by him. Ooh, the golden line or response choice. Do you want to start?
Oh, I kind of was the whole Larry thing. That really bugged me. The whole Larry Valerie relationship thing. But when he called her and then he was so rude to her on the phone, or actually it was before that. It was when she was talking to Kim on the phone, and at the end of the conversation, she said, "Tell him to call me. I shouldn't have hung up on him." And I was like, "No,
Where's
don't,
our April?
don't do that."
Princess April.
That was kind of the one I did a response choice. I really wouldn't call it a golden line. That was one I just wanted to respond with. Really, be a strong person. Don't give in so easily. That's what I wanted to say to her. So.
I had a really funny one.
Yeah.
Okay, the words just cracked me up in it, and how the description that the author used. It was, I woke up the following morning with a skull-splitting headache and a tongue that was stuck to the roof of my mouth with invisible Velcro. It just was so descriptive. I can just imagine that feeling and what it might have sounded like. You hear Velcro and just really disgusting mouth that was going on there.
That was a good
That was
description.
a good description.
I have when she was with Larry and she said, I already have a boyfriend back in Virginia. And that was a big slip. So I thought, oh no, here we go. It was like the Law and Order dun 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 moment. Like now she's going to just start blabbing and telling everybody and people are going to figure it out. And Larry knows about the brother with two colored eyes. And I just wondered if that was going to be like everything's downhill from there too. So, hey, love the book club.
Yeah.
Good work.
What are we doing for next time?
Let's figure that out, shall we?
Oh.
Let me go grab my book.
Okay.
Well, we got